Welcome to Effing Details Podcast.
Vancouver's kick-ass business stories unleashed. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Effing Details Podcast. I am Mark Simmons and you are?
Jill Simmons.
And we're happy to have you here today. So before we dive into today's podcast, we have our normal housekeeping. One of them, of course, is us begging. We are begging, so beg. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So you don't miss any of our podcast episodes.
Yep.
You can reach out to us anytime, anything at effingdetails.com. And our website is effingdetails.com. So part of the Effing Details, we are Vancouver's kick-ass business stories unleashed. And we love to hear the experiences and stories of Vancouver business owners.
Absolutely.
We shared some of our stories.
We have.
And we're interesting to a point, and now we realize that Vancouver, like many places, has a lot of great business owners with great journeys and doing some pretty, part of my business tagline is epic shit.
Right.
Epic things.
Definitely.
With their lives.
Yeah.
And so we're really happy to have with us today someone who's doing exactly that for so many reasons. And he doesn't know we're going to dive into some of the things because we silently stalk him or follow him. But we'll welcome to the big show, Kevin Parton. Welcome to the big show.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm excited and curious about where we're going to go today.
Yeah, stay curious, my friend. Yeah. So one of the things that people usually ask us when they come out on the show is, what do I need to know, or what questions? And we're like, well, you'll see.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. And if you see any of the podcasts, Jill is super curiosity's key in anything, networking, whatever, and Jill's super curious and has great questions.
Absolutely. And you're probably one of the guests that I've never met before at all.
Yeah.
Usually
Excellent.
I've met a lot of guests through BNI or networking or whatnot, but I do not know you at all. So it's exciting.
It'll be very fresh today.
Yeah. And so I've talked to a few people in the past many weeks since we reached out about the show. And I said, yeah, Kevin Parton's going to be on the show. And everybody has the same one thing to say about you. The same one thing. Do you know what that is?
Not a clue.
I don't.
He's such a nice guy.
Aw.
Well, that's kind.
That is. That's so nice.
That has been the common thread. He's such a nice guy. And that's how I know you as well. Like we've known you for a long time, but we haven't had, much like with a lot of our guests, a more personal relationship.
Yeah.
We have a business relationship and a networking relationship and a thing like that, a community relationship, which is cool. And so the question you might be asking is, why me? Right. So first off, tell us about your business, the business you're in now.
The business I am in now, I'm a part owner of Vela Wealth. It's a financial planning firm for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, and that's really kind of the focus, is trying to help business owners at varying stages of their career and trajectory use the skills they've developed in business to generate revenue, which is what everybody does, build wealth, but build a fulfilling life.
Right.
I think that's a major gap I've recognized after 15 years in this business, is that in the financial planning world, there's this focus on creating wealth or building wealth or chasing returns at the direction of the client, the business owner, without diving deep, speaking about curiosity and questions. And so if you take somebody's goals at face value and you help them continue to chase what they say is important to them, you can make somebody very rich. But increasingly, and you may be aware of this, money doesn't lead to happiness. And my personal journey reflected that, is that you can be a very good goal setter and goal achiever, and it doesn't get you what you think you want. So that's really what it's about, is it's getting people who are incredibly talented at what they do, learning to focus their energy in the right areas, building wealth in the process of doing that, and being both fulfilled in what you do, and then making some pretty transformational impact in the world.
So I'm assuming then you're going to need to make, or you do make, some pretty deep connections with your clients.
That's the idea, is that our conversations very quickly go well below the surface,
right,
to their personal lives, their relationships, why they got into business in the first place, and then out the front window, what kind of impact do they want to have in the world, and what legacy do they want to leave? And
that's amazing.
And it's not for everybody, but most certainly the people who are sort of purpose driven and pursuing a greater sense of meaning. Wealth is invariably the tool that can help you get there. It's the means to the end, not the end itself.
Yeah.
But knowing how to earn it and what to do with it is a really important piece.
Yeah. So to that, Kevin, there's a business side of you.
Yeah.
For sure. And then there's living your truth, living your passion, living your dream. So, like I said, we follow you, and I've seen you do a lot of things through your social media channels for a long time. We belong to the same networking group. That's how we know each other. Networking. Netwalking is what you do.
Yeah.
Netwalking.
Netwalking. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
Netwalking.
But I don't know what that is.
And that's what I want to learn more,
Yeah.
because that's you talk about what you're doing in your business.
Yeah.
And I'm super impressed by that, but I'm also super impressed in you're also living it outside of the business world, and you're learning about people, your own personal journey on your path to wherever it is that you're going, where you came from. And this really cool thing you're doing called your Netwalks.
Yeah, so there's a few different directions that we can go with this, but I think at the core of it, human connection was something that I've defined as one of my purposes, is to connect with people, separate of business. And I think I truly believe that business is a byproduct of meaningful connection, most certainly not the other way around. So having conversations with people rooted in getting to know them, and then trusting that something will happen, versus having a conversation with an agenda, almost can get in the way, no matter how much you think you're authentically connecting.
Right.
So that was the thing. I wanted to be able to connect with people. I also recognized, by chance, doing the grouse grind with somebody that I'd met with several times before, that when we were sitting across the table from each other, looking eye to eye, that we weren't shedding that discomfort of what's the other person going to say. Something I learned from somebody else was that we have 3 conversations going at any one point in time. There's the me to me inside my head, the me to you, and then the you to you inside your head. And so the more we can get out of the me to me and you to you conversation, and then the me to you, then we're present and being authentic.
Right.
So I did the grouse grind with this individual, and we had the most incredible, deep, meaningful conversations that I didn't expect to have. So I recognized that when you're exerting yourself, you're not looking at each other and you're distracted by movement. Again, psychological research indicates that this is true. You can't think too much about what's going on in your world, and you just speak what's happening. So I recognize that connections with people while walking accomplishes a whole bunch of things. You're now not looking at each other, you're in nature, you're creating healthy reactions in your body. There's tons of research to indicate what walking does for you. And then you're getting people out of their shell. And so it really started in this concept of I wanted to connect with people outside of sitting down. And then after several walks, they would end, and some people would say, I can't believe we talked about that, or I've never told anyone that, or this felt like therapy. And I was like, this is really cool, because people are having this experience now that they weren't otherwise having in real life, which is how to connect with another human. And so I learned that if you can be vulnerable enough to enter the ring first, people are more willing to join you than I otherwise thought. And if you create this container, which is really just going for a walk in a beautiful city we live in, you get these incredible outcomes. And then I love educating and learning. Sort of sidebar, I was talking to my wife about what my hobby would be, because I've never really been able to articulate what my hobby is outside of working. I've discovered it's learning. If I didn't work or need to work for money, I would just research and learn things. And so learning about people is fascinating to me. And so then I get to distill what I've learned. What great tidbits. It's like a walking podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, which, again, an idea that's come up in the past as well. But then I share that, and that's where social media comes in, is I thought full circle business is if I could build a business viable concept that was rooted in doing something that just felt really authentic and passionate to me, that would be neat. So if I just went on these walks, that would be great, but they would end there. So I thought, well, what if I was able to take what I've learned, share it, and start to build a brand, and through that brand I can eventually get business, and maybe through these walks. So now I can make a compelling case that you can build a business by going for walks with people, as long as you're strategic about it. And so that was really where it was rooted from, is just the surprise walk, hike, and then realizing what people had an appetite for, and then saying, I'm going to redefine what it means to build a business. You don't need to be behind a desk. You don't need to sit in front of a computer. You can get out, you can walk, you can share what they've learned. And in that process, I'm going to thrive and redefine what business looks like.
Have you ever had anybody not be so open to that, but still want to work with you?
I've had people ask for me to not share what we talked about.
Of course.
And especially the more people are aware of this NetWalk concept. In the beginning, no one knew what I was doing. So I'd ask if I could take a picture and share something. And now some people will reach out and they want the conversation. They just say, please don't take my picture and share that we've done this. I said, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is many people volunteer to want to go for NetWalks. The people who don't want that don't tell you they don't want it.
Oh.
So they don't walk up and say, hi, Kevin, I don't want to go for a walk with you. Just saying, they just don't approach you. And it hadn't dawned on me till the other day that there are, speaking of my networking group, there are people who very actively reach out and say, I would like to go for you. And then there are people in the chapter that I might have talked to 2-3 years ago who haven't come and talked to me in a while. Now, I don't know if that's just like fear, trepidation, or everyone's busy doing their own thing, but it could very well be that the vulnerability of these conversations, the depth that we get into, the going for a walk, none of that, or some of that is very unappealing. Right. And so I'm making it apparent, here's how I connect. And if you don't like that, you're probably not going to come try and talk to me.
Not everyone is your client, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And that was, again, rooted in this, like, be a lighthouse for people to see who you are.
Right.
If there are ideal clients or people who want to meet me, want to get to know me, how are they going to find me? Well, I've got to share, to a degree, unapologetically, these are the versions of me that exist. And in doing that, it makes it apparently clear to the people who aren't my people, don't talk to that guy, because that's not the conversation I want to have. Yeah. So you can't be all things to all people, but in order to be the right thing to the right people, you got to be the wrong thing to probably more people.
So now I'm curious.
Of course you are.
Let's get started.
Yeah, here you go.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Surrey.
Okay.
So not far from here. I've been in the Lower Mainland for my entire life.
Wow.
I grew up in Surrey for until high school finished, then moved out to South Surrey, lived there for a little while, and then almost 14 years ago, I moved to Vancouver.
Oh, fantastic.
I met my wife, and then we moved in together. If she's on the podcast, you can ask her. She might tell you. We agreed to move in together, and then she realized I was invading her space, and that was the beginning of our relationship. Because I moved in with her, and that was a little bit different than just having me in her life. But yes, I've been in Vancouver for the last 14 years.
That's one tactic that works.
She hasn't kicked me out yet. So.
Right. Yeah. You're probably safe.
Yeah.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have 3 sisters. I've got one older, 2 younger. One lives in Yaletown, one lives in White Rock, and one lives in Quesnel, northern BC.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And is anybody else in your family an entrepreneur?
No.
So where do you think this entrepreneurial spirit comes from?
I know where it started, and not necessarily. There's a couple ways it started. I used to work in restaurants. So I was a cook.
Okay.
And when you're in the kitchen, at least in the restaurants I worked in, you work really hard on Fridays and Saturdays, less so on the other days.
Right.
But you get paid roughly the same, no matter what you do. And on the other side, with the servers, when you work harder, and you do a better job, you tend to make more money from the tips perspective. So that really didn't resonate with me. I was not a big fan of this concept of like not being in command of making more money, or in charge of like getting paid commensurate with the work you put in, even if over time. So I know that definitely was a motivator of like, I want to be in charge of that. And then the financial side, which was the business I got into. I grew up in a household of my parents were not, let's say like money wasn't a well-known or discussed subject in our house. And the belief system that I grew up, or at least I recall, recognizing that memory is not always fantastic, was just that like get a job that pays well, it provides benefits and pension. Don't work too hard, because if you do that, you'll get more responsibility than you're paid for. But definitely don't get fired. And then after 25 or 30 years, you can retire with a pension, and then that's really what you're doing. And that didn't resonate with me at all. So why would you spend your entire life doing something you don't really like to hopefully stop working one day?
Right.
And so I wanted to know more about finance. I wanted to be in control of what it was that I did, and then sort of through happenstance ended up a girlfriend of mine. Her father was an advisor at Manulife, and I was chatting with him one day, and he's like, "You're a millennial. You know how to use PowerPoint and Excel." He's like, "I would really like it if you could put some stuff together for my clients that looked nicer," and was lending me a hand as well, because I was trying to get out of the restaurant business. And I worked with him for a year, and in that year I learned a couple things. One is that financial planning is more about behavior management and understanding humans and communication than it really is about the technical side, although equally important. That after 30 years in the business, or 25 years in the business, he was able to build his work life around his family life and not the other way around. And that he got paid really well to provide meaningful solutions to other people who got paid really well. And so it sort of checked a bunch of boxes. As I can understand money, I can help people achieve financial independence, I'm in charge of my own destiny, and I can build my own schedule. And he made a joke one time. He said, as a self-employed person, you get to work half days, either the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours. And I learned pretty quickly I'd rather work 16 for myself than 1 for somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
You're really deep into curiosity. I've talked Jill's curious questions, but curiosity is kind of a key too. Was that, you worked in restaurants, cool, but was curiosity a thing for you growing up? Were you a curious kid?
Not that I recall, and maybe it's just there weren't a lot of places for it to be highlighted. Like, I think the amount of time I spend trying to learn and understand things now, and it could have been something that existed and just wasn't cultivated, or I got in trouble in school for having a short attention span, or not doing something that I didn't understand if they wouldn't explain to me why we were learning something, and I was just sort of told to do it. It wasn't getting done, and when you don't do that in school, they send you to the office for a while. So that was my experience growing up. So I think it's the age-old story of the people who don't thrive in that environment often end up being the entrepreneurs. And I think it was just this recognition that someone telling me what to do without an explanation was just too much for me to work within or work around. But yeah, I'm immensely curious now, and just like I'm constantly trying to figure out why people do what they do and what makes them tick. And I think by and large because most people don't know how to answer those questions themselves. And so if I, through my own curiosity, can help other people figure out what it is that they're trying to do here being while they're alive, then that to me is a gift.
Yeah. But you also have a general interest too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you're not curious with an end goal of, I'll listen to you for now, but here's my sales pitch. Yeah. Right. You have a genuine curiosity about and interest in the person you're talking to.
Yeah. And I think, and has been the scariest thing for me in business, is to get away from this I'm curious with an agenda. Right. Because who's in your pipeline, and how many people are you closing, and what's the revenue, and what is that? Yeah. Why are you going for a walk with that person? I get asked all the time now. You do a lot of walking. What job do you have? And so there's this blind faith in this concept that if I just meet people where they are and provide value and have conversations and care about them, that at some point over the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years, it'll all work out. I'll end up being connected to somebody that's the right fit at the right time, and all of it is rooted in just not leading with business, not leading with what's in it for me. Yeah. And so it's hard to answer that question to somebody, and myself included, who is very goal focused, is I have no idea. I have no idea if this conversation is really going to get me anywhere. I just want to be present for it. Mm-hmm.
How do you do in a room full of people when you're networking?
I try to find 1 or 2 people that I like. I don't like being in large rooms where networking is very surface level. Right. So I will try and find, and maybe in the initial sort of beginning, it's have a couple quick conversations, find commonality with someone, and then that becomes the conversation. If I need to be schmoozy, I'll grab that information from the person and say, we're going to take this somewhere else, and make sure I circle back. But I do not do well, I don't feel comfortable trying to have surface level conversation. And so I can talk to a lot of people. I think command a room. Right. But I'm at my best when it's one-on-one, or it's close quarters. We're sitting around. We're all talking about the same thing. That's where I think people will get outside of themselves and into a conversation.
It's interesting because all three of us are very much alike in that regard.
Oh, gather.
Mark can stand up, command a room, talk to a ton of people, but you put him, alone in a room full of a lot of people, and
I'll stand back against the wall.
Yeah, he'll just stand against a wall. He'll want to connect with that person one-on-one. And I would say I'm 50-50, but more so I like to really deeply connect with someone rather than just be surface level, the outgoing person in a room full of people.
I was going to ask you, from you, Mark, standing back against the wall, how much of that is I don't want to engage versus do you find you're most comfortable observing? So I feel like our roles have shifted here in this podcast, but and for a moment, it can. I am definitely an observer.
Yeah.
Jill is a crazy ass networker connector.
Yeah.
She will find stuff about people that no one else can find out.
Yeah.
And we've been in situations, we've talked about in a couple of podcasts where we've both been at, there were more customers, clients of mine.
But it's one-on-one.
But it was one-on-one, and then she comes back to me, okay, here's what you need to know, and tells me all this information. I go, I've known this person for years. I didn't know this stuff.
Yeah.
So she has this ability to ask questions. In my coaching world, I will, and because you create safe space. So people are telling you stuff because you create safe space for them right away. And that's a personality thing. Not everybody has it. But then when people feel safe. So when I'm in coaching world, I always tell people, they won't tell you anything, but give them 30 seconds with me. And I know all of a sudden they're telling you things.
Yeah.
But in a room, I am definitely more of an observer type.
Yeah.
And then my resting bitch face, people think I'm angry at them. And I'm like, no, I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, which I think is it, right? Like if you know that the meaningful conversations, for me at least, like what I want to engage in is meaningful connection, and I think that's what people want as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that can happen in a large room of people who are all trying to talk over each other.
Yeah.
So I've just learned that it sucks my energy. That is networking that actually drains me versus networking that energizes me. And then I have less energy for something else that I'm doing. So I just try and make it a non-starter. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to come in here and pretend and fake and be some sort of inauthentic version.
Right.
I'll just say, if this is good, if we found some commonality, let's take this somewhere else. All things being equal, there's sometimes you can't avoid it. On Tuesday morning, I'll be in a room with 100 people. I'm not just going to walk out of that room because I can't sit down with one person.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Food business. Well, let's go back to the food business.
Yeah.
I was in the food business for 17 years.
Okay.
So I have a pretty good understanding of that food business. My question for you, though, is what learning from being in that field, because it can be a pretty intense field, especially when you're younger, what learning from that do you still use today?
I think the most valuable thing I've learned is how to read life like 15 steps ahead. I was in the kitchen, so worked all the different stations, but where I was best, where I often was in what's they call call. So the bills come in, you read all the items, you tell everybody what they're doing, and you've got to strategically plan so that the other 10 to 12 people in the kitchen are getting their food up at the same time and getting it out. So and then you've got 40 or 50 of those going at the same time, which sort of forces you to think 30 minutes ahead, 12 different projects, everybody working. That, to me, I took for granted, I think, is just this, everyone thinks that way. Yeah. And as time has gone on, recognize that my ability to sort of look so many steps ahead and see what people are going to do has really helped me plan out my life, see other people's lives, understand perspective. That, I think, was really, really useful. There's certain lifestyle habits that existed in the industry that I recognized. Well, that's not helpful long term. I like to do many things the wrong way before I do them the right way. And if anybody's read, Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain, all of the bad things that can exist in a kitchen. And yeah, so
really like anywhere else, but more so in a kitchen.
More so in a kitchen.
Again, depending on which side of the morning or the night, but it's you're working with the same people, you're working hours while everyone else is off work.
Right.
So then the night shift ends and you just continue to hang, like you just end up in this echo chamber of people whose lifestyles aren't necessarily conducive to moving out of that business. What I did recognize, and again, this sort of ties into what I've learned from servers, is there were certain ones who would come in, they'd work their shift, they'd make money, and they'd leave. And so they treated it like a true stepping stone. They didn't get sort of sucked into that lifestyle and reinvesting back in. And then they would take that money and they would pool it into other assets. So this idea that I sort of is now starting to come up with business owners is do the thing that makes you money, but take the profit and create other sources of income. Otherwise, you'll be forever tied to that one thing. And that's either not predictable or there's things, you're not diversifying your risk.
Yeah.
So that's sort of something I learned is that, everyone can play the same game, but they can play it differently, and there are drastically different outcomes depending on how you play the game.
So you're born organizer is part of what I got from that. It's a DNA, like organization, you have it or you don't have it. It's hard to learn organization.
Yeah.
And it feels to me like in your DNA is organization skills and that, which works for you. Are there times when, is that more of a control thing? Or is that like a specific skill of organization? I'm really good at it.
I think it's less, the word organization to me, I think I don't keep things neat and tidy.
Yeah.
And sometimes my wife learned this over time is like, I get very obsessive. So if it's time to clean something, I will clean it well. Mm-hmm. And because I know how long I'm going to do that, I tend to just not do it. She's like, you're not lazy. You're just the opposite of that. And sort of protect yourself from just being obsessive. You just won't do certain things. But I have a knack for seeing things. It's like when I talk to somebody, I can have an idea of what it is that they want to do and where they want to go well in advance of them having any idea. And so that's kind of where I think the organization is just being able to see the end before someone's even seen the beginning. That is the organization, like the sequence of events that happen in life, what has to occur before the next three things to occur. So I've got an organization of maybe life sequence events, less organization of like my calendar and my notes. That is a mess.
Yeah.
But what if you can't?
Pardon?
What if you can't? See, like what if you meet somebody and you can't see down the road what it is? Does that panic you, or does that just make you more curious, or how does that feel for you?
There have been very few, so I find that I am very good at reading people. Mm-hmm. And when I can't read someone, it gets very uncomfortable for me because I don't know what's happening. Now, I think in those cases, what I found is when people aren't being authentically themselves, the questions I ask are being answered not from a place of who they are, but who they're trying to be. And I've been that person for many years to other people where I'm trying to be a chameleon and couldn't figure out why I couldn't maintain long-term friendships. And at the end of the day, it was because I wasn't being me, and so people get this uncomfortable feeling. That's when I ask people questions, and if they're not answering from an authentic place of who they are, I can tell there's sort of dissonance between what they're saying and what they actually feel, and that feels uncomfortable to me. I couldn't figure it out for a long time, but no, I mean, most often, if people are willing to have a conversation with me, there's things that I can see even just through asking them questions.
Because that serves you very well in life. Having that skill serves you very well in life, just in general, not just in business, but just in general in life.
Yeah, it does. It also can get you in trouble because you start telling people things about themselves that they don't want to hear yet, or they haven't invited you to share.
That's true.
And then you're like, well, why wouldn't you want me to tell you what you're not doing? And so I'm learning how to wait for the invitation, or in the context of what I do is remind people that you're paying me to be your advisor.
Right.
Sometimes that doesn't mean telling you what you want to hear; it's what you need to hear. But if you do that to people who haven't paid or haven't asked, they can get frustrated with you because, and sometimes in a relationship.
I was going to say,
that can be an interesting dynamic. We bumped our head against a few times where it's like, I shouldn't be the one who's saying this, and so we'll get a third party to help us work through some things.
The best is when I kind of lob some of Mark's coachy stuff back at him.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that so much.
She will at times say, I don't know, coach, what do you think? It's not about me.
Or I hear his coachy stuff and then I'll just kind of throw it back at him.
I feel like we should have your wife here too right now. I think it would have been good conversation.
It most certainly would have.
Yeah.
This summer has been interesting as she started her own business.
Oh, fantastic.
And learning how to, pivot roles for most of our relationship. My work or business has been the priority. We've got 2 young kids, and she decided to start her own and open her own clinic, and so that's sort of taken the priority. So there's a little bit of psychological relationship changing and pivoting there, and then just learning how to communicate through different new learning and otherwise sometimes stressful environments.
Sure.
Yeah.
How did you and your wife meet?
We met at the end of the first Lululemon half marathon.
Oh, okay.
It was a little bit of a serendipitous meeting. I'm grateful the stars aligned. I had in that year been doing fundraising work for the Alzheimer's Society.
Right.
So I was doing 12 races in 12 months to raise money. And this was one of the races that I had signed up for. And I had only signed up for it because a colleague in my office had suggested it. And this being 14 years ago, she said, let's do the Lululemon run. And I was like, Lululemon, that's for girls. Idiot. So signed up. And then like 2 days before, she's like, I'm not doing it anymore for whatever reason. So I did it by myself.
Oh.
And then instead of having my iPod Shuffle on my arm, which I had forgotten, I carried my phone with me that I didn't normally do. Got to the end of the race. What I love about running races is that you get to eat a lot of food afterwards for free. But anyways, went to go wait, in line for the bag check, and my wife was standing there in front of me, and she needed a phone to call her parents. So she asked to use my phone. We stood in line for 45 minutes, and we got to the end, and she asked me out for coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that story. That's a great story.
Thank you.
So now 2 kick-ass business owners in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of our podcasts we did was about sacrifice.
Okay.
We discussed sacrifice when you're in a relationship or doing these things together or whatever, is what are the sacrifices that you have to do? Because to be a business owner, you can't have everything.
Yeah.
As much as we would want it. Something always has to give. There's 24 hours in a day, not 24 hours in a minute. It's 24 hours in what we do with it. And then you have the added bonus value of kids.
Yeah.
What have been some of the sacrifices you've had to like overcome or still working through? And
some of the big, like I don't drink alcohol anymore. I've been sober for like just anything that would slow me down. I made a decision when I left the last firm I was at and went to Vela that I wanted to take all of my own advice. I was very good at telling people what I had read and what they should do, less good at embodying all of it. Some of it was from the health perspective, and so I try and go to bed by 9 or 9:30 at night. I get up at 4 in the morning. I spend some time journaling or meditating. I exercise sort of 4 to 6 times a week. You see, I've got a comedically large water bottle here.
Massive bottle of water. I was going to comment on it.
I try and drink 3.5.
And it really came out when you were talking about your net walks. The first one, really about the grouse grind. Your intention wasn't this whole thing, but you allowed it to happen, and it was something to that you just went with. And with business owners, adaptability is the key, or one of the keys. And we've talked about that to other people and other podcasts, and they have a vision of where they sometimes want to go, but they actually never get there.
Yeah, well, and I think that's true. It's like you can set your sights somewhere, and I think it's important to do that, to know which direction you're sailing in, but then the winds pick up. And if you keep trying to go that direction, that might not be where you're supposed to go or the fastest way to get there. And a friend of mine said something sort of a year and a half ago as I started to make some of these changes. And he said, you're making the changes not for the opportunities you think you're going to get, but for the person you're going to become and the opportunities available to him. And so same thing in a business is as you're building a business or whatever it is that you're doing, the things that are possible to you now are going to change 6 months from now. But if you stay so focused on the possibilities that existed 6 months ago, you'll have the blinders on. Stuff shows up in your life when you're ready for it. And if that's not the story you've played out in your head, you're missing what's obvious for you at that time. And that's, again, something that I've learned is not believing I have any idea where this is going. There was a saying in a book, and I'm not going to remember the book, but the context was it was a guy who was following around a 13th generation lion tracker in Africa. And he asked the lion tracker at some point, tracking the lion, do you know where you're going? And he said, no, but I know exactly how to get there. And the idea was if I follow these steps, we'll find the lion wherever he is. And to me, that's what life is. If I do what I know I need to get from today to tomorrow, and I do that enough times, I'll get exactly where I want to be. I just don't know where that is yet.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the concept of then you pivot, then you adapt. Because you don't think that I'm going to be so arrogant to believe that where I think I want to go right now is actually where I want to end up. Because nobody's where they thought they were going to be.
Right.
But we still then look out the front window and think I know where I'm going. And so the sooner you can acknowledge that I have no idea where I'm going, I think I do.
Yeah.
But I'll pivot when the time comes. you get exactly where you want to go and a lot quicker.
It's letting go of outcome.
Yeah, it's letting go of outcome and letting it go where it needs to go.
It's humility, because you have to say, I'm setting a target, but I'm willing to let it go.
Yeah.
And that's a nuance. That's hard for some people to live in. It was hard for me. I was so goal focused for so long and kept hitting goal after goal after goal, and then sunk into what I've later learned to describe as actual depression, because I'm like, it was just hopeless.
Right.
Well, but I'm doing all these things and I'm getting what I'm supposed to want, but it's emptier and emptier and emptier,
Right.
because I just wasn't adapting or pivoting or reflecting on the direction I was going in. And so I think for a lot of people, that might be actually the outcome they get, is either they give up on achieving or they feel hopeless.
Right. You're a pretty confident guy.
I'm getting there.
Okay, you come across as being a very confident guy.
Yes.
So that, and it's a question that comes up a lot for us, is introvert, extrovert. How would you describe yourself in that simple form?
An introverted extrovert.
Okay.
And I guess, so when we talked about different types of networking, I used to think that networking I like to do, but if I do it too much, I get zapped of energy. I've since learned that there are different types of networking. If I have one-on-one conversations with people, I get so energized by that, I can do that all day.
Yeah.
If I'm in a room with people, pardon me, that can tire me out. But I do love my alone time. Like, I like to go be by myself, to write, to reflect. And so that's something I've learned lately. I used to hate being alone because I didn't like being in my own head and my own thoughts.
Right.
And that was a whole journey that I went on as well. But I love it now, because that's sort of self-care for me.
Yeah.
So I'd call myself an introverted extrovert. If I don't get that alone time, then I feel there's something missing. But I do enjoy being in front of people.
Yeah. A lot of people, they see other people's journeys, and like, today I'm here and I want to start a business, and tomorrow there's my business, and there it is. And and what they don't know is that it took a long time, and we don't really know what people had to put out, what they really had to do, because people rarely share the real stories to everyone.
Not generally.
No. And another point you referenced is that we do for others what we don't do for ourselves.
So true.
And, it feels like you do a great job of communicating and helping others and building your networks.
I think that's true. I think almost the flip side, not in contradiction, but the best way to help others is to help yourself.
Yeah.
Which is, and I learned this with parenting, is they don't hear what you say, they see what you do.
Right.
Kids are really good at that. Grown-ups, myself included, will listen to the words and almost ignore behavior because, well, this is what they said.
Yeah.
And I've been burned bad not seeing the red flags as they came up because the words were just indicated otherwise.
Yeah.
But I've not done a very good job of convincing my kids to do anything other than the way I behave. Mm-hmm. And so recognizing that, and I think people at a subconscious level, if not otherwise, if I give someone advice and I'm not taking it, they're not going to trust that advice, or it doesn't land well, or my confidence isn't there. I think confidence comes from doing what you say you're going to do. Confidence comes from leading a life that you are proud of, and then that comes through in who you are. And that was something that I lacked for most of my adult life. Was there were things that I was telling people to do. There was things I knew I should be doing, and I wasn't, because it was uncomfortable, because it required change, it required discipline, and that then made up my confidence or lack thereof. And for me, the big journey over the last 2 years has been figuring out who would my hero be if I designed him, and how do I become that person?
Yeah.
And the more days in a row that I do that, the more my confidence builds, because I've prioritized me over external validation or a toy or a thing or what somebody else says. And then when you're confident, people then gravitate.
Yeah.
Because, well, you're living that. I want that. I think so many people aren't doing that.
Yeah. So who would your hero be?
Well, it's me.
Okay.
But it's somebody who is clear on their values. Core values. What are the things that are important? Somebody who makes the hard decisions we can call them hard, the difficult, the non-conforming perhaps decisions to align with those values at whatever time it is. It's the person who's willing to get that feedback that maybe they don't want to hear and take it anyways. It's the reflection. One of the things is when you do a lot of good things, you can avoid the thing you should be doing with the thing that feels good. So like if I need to sit and meditate and think on something, but that's hard, I'll go to the gym and I'll feel good about that. But I know I'm avoiding something.
Right.
So for me, it's just continually to say, who is the person that lives, based on everything I know, lives the life best, who's balanced for me, who spends time with their family and prioritizes that over working extra. Right. So I've got my own definition of what an ideal man would be, and then what are those behaviors, and then I try and do that. And that person gets reinvented because my values might change, or my kids grow up, or the business evolves, or 2 years ago it was focused a lot more energy on my business, and now it's support my wife and help her build hers up. But that to me is like, be your own hero, because no one else is going to have all the character traits, I think, that are relevant to you. And so you can kind of just pull from, well, I like what that person has in that person, and what are their behaviors, and then you kind of create this avatar, or at least I did.
Yeah.
And then that's, how do I do that every day?
I hope the people watching today and listening are taking screenshots and quotes. We've got some gold here from everything Kevin Parton is saying.
Yes.
Yeah, you're giving a lot of great information.
Yeah.
And we're sure learning a lot.
We definitely are. Yeah.
So,
well, no, you are. You don't hope you are.
Okay.
You are. 100%.
You are.
You post a lot of them, and one of the keys to success is do what you say you're going to do, and you are one of those people, Kevin, that do what you say you're going to do. Probably not nail it 100% of the time.
Nope.
None of us do. It's a good goal, but it's way better than not doing it at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're always moving towards that kind of thing, and you are clearly living a life of intention.
Yep.
And living the life of who you want to be and modeling it.
Very authentic.
Yeah, which is, we find pretty amazing.
Thank you.
That is very amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, like own that stuff. That feels cool.
It feels good. It's,
Yeah.
and it's easier the more you do it. But again, then it's recognizing that the old patterns sometimes are to outwork everybody.
Right.
And recognizing that feels good for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And so it's slowing down for me is the hardest thing, is the being present with my kids. And so it's remembering that sometimes, working harder doesn't mean being the hero. But yeah, it's constantly reflecting, being caught, like you said, there are people who don't do the things they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And then they tell themselves a story about them doing it. Right? So it's being willing to cut through that noise and having that self-compassion that, like, I'm not going to get it all the time.
Yeah.
But the longer I pretend like I'm getting it currently without reflecting, the harder it is. Yeah. And we all just try really hard, I think, as people, to not deal with the reality of things. And if we could just deal with reality and then move forward, it's a lot better. Like the gap in between knowing you should take action and taking action, if you can narrow that, I think you get a lot done in life.
Yeah. Action breeds or kills credibility, depending on what your action is. And what we do know for 100% surety is inaction will always kill credibility. Yeah. Intention can hurt credibility.
Yeah.
If you intend, and we've talked about this before, we judge, I don't think we're judged, but we do judge ourselves by what we intend to do, but people judge us by what we actually freaking do.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm really good, because I was going to call you, Kevin, but I didn't. And I tell you, I was going to call you, and you're going, well, you're an idiot, you didn't call me. And I'm like, no, I'm good because I was going to.
Yeah.
I intended to.
That's it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the reference you gave about that person is the same thing. And so action is really key. Taking action. We have some questions for you, and we don't have on our sheet here, hey, say nice stuff to guests.
Yeah.
You either have it or you don't have it, and we're pretty sure that you definitely have it.
Okay.
If we look at your financial world, was there a moment in your financial journey that has shaped how you advise people today?
Yeah, most certainly, and it's actively changing. But for 13 years, I was advising people who predominantly weren't entrepreneurs, and so they worked jobs that they weren't fans of, making whatever money they could. And my role in their lives was to tell them when they could stop doing the thing they hated, and hold their hand through the process.
Right.
Lo and behold, that was not riveting work for me. But I couldn't really articulate that. And then in my own right, I was taking courses and trying to develop as a person. So I was doing all of these quote unquote entrepreneurial things, but just not relating. And I almost felt I was too insecure to give that advice to the people I was working with. A, because it didn't land. If they're not entrepreneurs, telling them to develop themselves in an entrepreneurial way didn't make sense. And there was enough of my not taking my own advice that I didn't feel emboldened enough. Like, I'm not embodying enough of this to be able to give the advice. 2 years ago when I moved, really started to lean into that. And so now my role with people and business owners predominantly is to take a look at the big picture. I think there's 4 areas of your life that you manage money. One is how you make it, and your ability to develop as a human through coaching, through personal development, through skills to make more money. Then it's how you spend it. A lot of times if you hate how you're making it, you spend to numb. So if you love how you're making it and you get better at it, you spend less on numbing things. Well, now you keep more of what you're spending or what you make. Then there's how you invest that money, what tools you put it into, and then how you protect that money. And so there's those 4. Our industry is generally focused on how you invest and how you keep that money, protect it, not on the front end, which is how you develop as a human and how you align your behavior with what's important to you so you don't numb out by spending. And so that's really where I look at is like what's happening in the front end, and not to begin to, I've done enough coaching, counseling, and otherwise to know when someone needs to talk to someone, but in no way that person. So my role is like a financial partner to say, okay, like the best resource for you right now isn't to take a bunch of money and put it into a portfolio right now, or all of it. It's to take someone and hire a coach. Hire a coach, that's gonna help improve your income. A year from now, you're gonna make twice as much money. Now you'll be in a position to peel some more off and do something over here. So it's looking at the full circle. That very much informs that. And then what I'm working on right now is building actually an app called My Family CFO. I just found a tool called, I think it's called My Love something. It's called tangent. It's called vibe coding. Okay. So you tell it like it's ChatGPT what you want the website or app to do, and it'll create it for you. So I started doing it while my daughter was at swimming lessons this afternoon, and I was working on it for my phone. But ultimately, it's going to allow you to articulate and declare your 5 core values. It's going to tell you what those core values mean, how they're interconnected, and how that should inform your decision making. It's then going to ask you questions about your behavior in relationship to money. So it's going to tell you what your habits have been up to this point and how that might impact your decision making going forward. And then it's going to ask you questions about your goals. And then it's going to allow you to load your historical credit card spending, your bank accounts, your tax returns, and any like your assets and liabilities. So it'll have all of your data, and then based on that, it'll tell you what your spending behavior means, when you need to cut things that aren't aligning with your values. So it's really just going to create the optimal spending patterns for you, and then inform you on a go-forward basis. Because that, I think, is huge. I don't want to do that for people, but I want to do it in my own home. And if someone can use a tool that allows them to really analyze where their spending's going and become clear on that, and then shows up to meetings with me much more clear. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. I know where I'm spending inappropriately based on what I've said is important and what I'm keeping. Okay, now I'm in the best possible shape to be able to move forward. That is something I just started creating today. But I think that's something I'm going to start to incorporate.
It's really too bad you're such an underachiever. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Like I was using Excel and ChatGPT, and then my wife and I just started having weekly meetings to sort of create this dynamic of going through these things.
Yeah.
And then I watched a video of someone talking about this platform. So I opened it up, and in half an hour built the framework for an app, and was just losing my mind, and was talking to my wife, and she's like,
that's great.
She's like, this is this like learning thing that you said your hobby is. And I was like, I was going to build this website. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun for me.
Right.
And that's my goal, is if I can create something that solves a real problem in my house, in my life, there's probably someone else that this could work for. And if not, I had a hell of a time playing around with it anyways.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hey, Kevin, I want you to ask Jill a question. Ask her, what happens when you get in front of a financial planner and talk about money?
Hey, Jill.
Ask her, yeah.
What happens when you get in front of a financial planner and talk about money?
I sweat. I cry, and I never give up my SIN number. I don't want to tell you anything about myself financially.
Do you know where that comes from?
My mom, growing up, she always told me, never ever give out your SIN number, so I just don't. So if somebody asks me for it, or they have to ask me for it, like when we were applying for a mortgage, and they wanted my SIN number, it was like not a good time.
Did she talk about, like, other than telling you that within the house, did you talk about money between you?
No.
Okay, so money wasn't a discussion.
Never a discussion.
Now, did she explain to you, or do you know why that was her belief system?
Well, you just don't talk about it. It's considered, well, the way my mom described it, she just said it's very impolite.
Yeah.
It's impolite. You don't talk about money. It's very impolite.
And do you have a desire to work through that?
Well, you'd probably fire me within 2 seconds.
Or less.
But probably.
Which is fair, but this is the core of it.
See, that's the problem. I'm just not really an easy person. And there's a couple of B&I people because we bought and sold houses and
worst day of my life was when we were working with one of the mortgage brokers, and we were at the 11th hour of this mortgage, and she came into the meeting 7 a.m. and she goes, Mark, and she already knew about Jill, and she's like, I need her SIN number. I'm like, oh my God, no. And she said, here's the plan. What you're going to do is send her a message now, tell her you need your SIN number, her SIN number, and by the next hour and a half, the end of the meeting, she'll calm down, things will be fine. So I sent her a message and go, hey, and there was an hour and a half tirade, which ended with, here's my effing SIN number.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
That's
the method,
how it went down.
Yeah, the method to the madness works for sure. I only asked that question because people really do have a fear around money and financial planning. So what would you say is one of the effing details that people spend too much time on, and what should they be concerned about instead?
People spend a lot of time thinking that if they gather more information, it's going to make them feel more comfortable with taking action. They confuse their discomfort with, I must need to know more, versus I'm doing something new, or I have an ingrained belief system that is not working in my favor.
Right.
And you're not going to solve for that with anything other than doing the thing you want to do or taking a risk. It's a calculated risk. Mm-hmm. So if it's providing someone a SIN number because I need that mortgage, that's not going to feel comfortable until you've done it and it's worked out. You need that fact pattern to exist.
Yeah.
But if you think that like something I'm not getting from them is causing this discomfort, you're going to try and fill that hole. And so like I've worked with people where they just come back and ask and ask and ask and ask, and I'm just like, look, you want the thing that's not being solved for is I'm asking you to do something you're not familiar doing, and that is always going to be uncomfortable. And so you either trust me and do it or don't, but there's nothing else I can tell you that's going to make you feel better. And so I think that's where people, as they get caught up in this, like, I should feel amazing or it's not going to work. And I'm like, if you kept doing the same things you were doing, that might feel good because you're comfortable, but you're going to get the same result. If you want a different result than you're used to getting, you're going to have to behave differently, and that's not going to feel good. And no amount of data, in fact, the more information I get you, the more conflicted or confused you're going to be, because it's not solving for it. So I think by and large, asking for a certain amount of information to build that trust and credibility, important. Hoping that you'll feel like rainbows and butterflies, I'm making this great decision, when I'm asking you, you're asking of yourself to behave differently than you ever have, that's not going to feel good. And so you just have to like, I'm going to do this and trust that it'll either work out and the discomfort just will alleviate, or I'm taking a calculated risk and this might not work out. But I know that if I keep doing the same thing, that isn't working out already, so it's worth it to try.
I just want the Christmas card. I don't even want questions answered. Just give me the Christmas card.
Yeah.
Christmas card.
I do. I don't even want any questions answered. I just want the Christmas card so that I know you're still around.
Yeah.
And you haven't left the country.
Yeah, so send her the Christmas card regardless.
Yeah.
Please. Anyways, so entrepreneurs and employees, you work with both. How should an entrepreneur work differently than an employee?
Employees have, I think, less options for where their money can go or how strategic they can be. They don't have corporate structures. They don't necessarily, they don't have the same control over the revenue as a business owner does. If a business owner invests in scaling the company, developing themselves professionally, you could quadruple your income year over year, whereas most employees are going to have some sort of limit to what that looks like. So where you choose to invest your uncommitted income, as an example, if I've got an employee who's a high income earner, but if you spend $30,000 trying to develop yourself, you might make $10,000 a year more next year. It's not going to be the same advice. An entrepreneur, like I said, has upward mobility in a different way. So where their money goes is different, and how they hold it.
Yeah.
And then, like, again, just different tools. So that would be like the big focus is like, which of those 4 pillars I mentioned before, how you earn it, how you spend it, how you invest it, how you keep it, where are you going to see the best ROI?
Yeah. If there was a billboard, Kevin Parton's billboard, and it was to say one thing, what would it say?
Run your own race. Do what matters to you. Everybody asks, how do I compare?
Yeah.
To what? like everyone wants to know, how am I doing compared to other doctors, other people my age, other people that are clients of yours?
Right.
None of it, by and large, is relevant. And it again becomes one of those things where, like, if I told you were better than all of them, but your potential's up here, you're still letting yourself down. You're measuring the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so it's, what do you want to do? How much do you need to do to get there? What's your potential? And so that's run your own race. Figure out who the best version of yourself is, and do that. That's the other thing. I see people all the time who could be doing so much more, but they're like, well, compared to everyone around, I'm doing real good. I'm like, does that feel good to you to just sort of chill out now? And maybe it does.
Yeah.
But I think the justification for it is like, well, like all these other people I'm looking at are like, it doesn't come from this internal motivation. Their metric of success is, when am I keeping up with or ahead of the average? So I think by and large, it's run your own race. That might stop you from killing yourself working too hard.
Yeah.
And I think more than anything else, you're going to achieve a lot more in life from a happier place if you figure out what your goals are and stop looking at your neighbors.
Great advice.
Yeah, it's hard to compare sometimes, and great advice.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, especially with everyone's social media, right? You see what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
And everyone has, and you can see, money is a very tangible, easy to measure metric, especially in what you spend it on, which is, again, confusing because a lot of people can have lots of things but not be financially sound.
Yeah.
And people can have lots of things and have lots of money and be depressed, or their relationship is falling apart,
Totally.
or they're unhappy. Like,
Yeah.
And so you don't see underneath the hood, you just see the shiny car. And that, I think, is also very hard because people see that and they think, that's success, that's happiness, that's fulfillment, that's what I'm missing. I'm not doing good enough.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the tip of the iceberg and using that to justify why you should have more. And like, so like someone I know told me, so you can't become happy, you can only be happy.
Right.
You're either happy or not.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to become happy, you've already lost. Figure out how to be happy, or you'll never be happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's very conflicting to people because they spend so much time saying, when I get there.
Right.
So that's it. It's your own mind game. Life is perspective. It's how you choose to see it.
Yeah. And because we're very optics driven, for your neighbor's car, you don't know what they're going through, how they bought the car, if they're in debt, if they're in trouble. We have no idea, but optically it looks like a pretty nice car.
Right.
Or whether their parents gave them money to buy that car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's so many variables, and really it is the optics of everything.
Then you get the car, and if you got it because somebody else, you get the car, well, what's next then? Because that didn't solve for it. I'm still not happy.
Right.
Because someone else has something more. You ever been to Vegas?
Yep.
Yes.
You're either a billionaire or you're not the richest person in the room.
Yeah.
And there's always a room where someone has more money than you. So if your metric is, I need what that person has, unless you're Elon Musk and he's clearly not fully happy, there's parts of his life that are failing.
Yeah.
So it's like there's always someone who's got something you don't. It's just what you choose to look at.
And even that poor guy just got bumped down from the richest
I
man.
know. Now Ellison's richer than him.
Wow, that's gotta be rough.
Yeah, he's just having a bad day.
Not good, not good. That's funny. Hey Kevin, can we do a quick fire game with you on the Effing Details? Just the answers, don't get into the details.
Let's do it.
We have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
No effing details,
Just boom. Okay. One word your friends would use to describe you.
Nice.
yeah, we covered that one.
Biggest myth about entrepreneurship.
It's easy. I don't know. That's it. I don't know. I can't think of
That's good.
No,
No.
that's
sorry.
good.
Yeah.
Biggest lesson you learned the hard way.
Don't take advantage of the people who love you.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a screenshot quote.
Definitely. Biggest pet peeve in meetings.
Outside of meetings.
Not being present. People play on their phone.
Yeah. If you had to give a TED Talk tomorrow, what would the topic be?
How to be your own hero in a year.
Can I just say that would be really cool? Like, just a side note, I feel like that's really something that you should do.
I would love that.
So, like, is that something you're working on for real? Or is...
I did book/workshop/ TED Talk, but it's in the periphery of like something I would like to speak to.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that really is amazing. Yeah.
Folks, you heard it here first. Do that.
Yeah.
That's
for
pretty
sure.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay, last one. City life or country life?
Country life. My entire life, I would have said city life.
Yeah.
I still don't think I can live outside of a city. But I stood on a ranch last year. I've made fun of country music, farmers, Langley, forever.
Yeah.
I was on a ranch and I felt like I was home.
Wow.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
But it's this, I've started to just sort of check in with my body and how it feels in a way that I never have. And so being in certain places that feel, it's kind of like you have a conversation with somebody and you leave and you're like, that felt good or that didn't feel good.
Right.
And for so long, I've just sort of brushed that off as like, that's this weird feeling, just ignore it. And I'm much more attuned to it. I was on a ranch looking at open fields with like cattle around, and I'm like, this feels uncomfortably good. So I think that's where I'm supposed to be at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe not on a ranch, but like in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle
Right.
of nowhere.
I kind of have a feeling you're going to make it to wherever you want to be or you want to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty evident.
Yeah.
Which is the whole like, I thought I wanted to be in a big house in a big city.
Yeah.
And if you ignore the signs along the way, you can end up where you think you want to go and still not where you're meant to be. So I don't know when and how I get there or what that looks like, but I do think that at some point in time I'm supposed to be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what's the number one key to your success?
Never fucking give up.
Yeah.
Just in everything. Like, just don't stop learning. Don't stop adapting. There's just, like, win the day. Win the day.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning, there's one thing you can do to improve yourself. Do that and do it enough days in a row. And you'll amaze yourself at where you can get.
Yeah.
This has been so inspiring.
It really, really has. So if we circle back to the very beginning, to the grouse grind, for those that don't know about the grouse grind, what is it?
It's walking up a lot of stairs for an hour.
Yeah.
Or two, depending
It's
on how
hundreds of stairs.
Yeah.
Up a mountain.
Yeah. Well, and the business analogies were great. When I went on this walk, I had just moved to the new firm that I'm at, to Vela. And the change that occurred, the expectations I had versus the reality, I was having an existential crisis. It was supposed to be, in my mind, a level up, and in many ways was. But how it was happening and what had to unravel on the way out of the old firm really rocked me to my core. And I kept looking at where I was supposed to be and where I had ended up, and the distance was just so vast.
Yeah.
And then I'm climbing the mountain, and I looked up, and I'm like, if I spend too much time looking up this mountain, I'm going to just burn myself out worrying about how long it's going to take.
Right.
So I'm just going to look at my feet. And it's much easier to just put one foot in front of the other. And I just thought, what a very quick feedback loop of business and life. Is it's important to know where you're going. Am I climbing the right mountain? That's key. And at some point I need to take a look at the view and enjoy it and double check to make sure I still want to be climbing that mountain. But other than those checkpoints, just look down.
Yeah.
No one to fuck the details and just do it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Right? And just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
You know?
So this is probably a great place to end here. We have a gift bag for you with a mug, a hat with stickers,
Yep.
Our Effing Details swag. Woohoo! And we also know that when you work with clients, Kevin, you actually do pay attention to details.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not saying F the details. You know, like you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And there's times in life where you have to, the details can bog you down and beat you up and
Yeah.
not do things.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for being on the show. What is your email address?
It's kevin@velawealth.com. Generally, what I would recommend is you follow me on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Really just share things every day, and then you can message me through that. So if you just want to get to know me, do that. That'll give you a good insight into how I work, how I operate, and if at some point in your life something resonates with you, then you know how to find me.
Awesome. We're going to have all your contact details and your social links in the description of all of this. So reach out to Kevin, ask him questions, do some net walks with him.
Yep.
What's your website?
Yeah, VelaWealth.com.
Okay.
I'm
Perfect.
in business. I joined the firm. I just have a little plug for the firm. Jason Boudreau, Rob Wallace founded the firm 14 years ago. They had a vision that I didn't know could exist in this industry. I got serendipitously sat in front of Jason at a hockey game with a mutual friend, and we connected and learned that, you know, sometimes taking a chance on something you believe in is really worth it in spite of all of the shit that happens in the meantime. So
Yeah.
they're building something great. I'm excited to be a part of it. You know, we're all rowing in the same direction, and I think we're doing some fun things. I'm loving life more than I ever have.
Well,
So.
these little happenstances seem to happen between you and your wife, and how you got into Vela.
And that's it. Just keep putting yourselves in new places. If you sit in
Right.
the same spot, you'll see the same things.
Yeah.
If you just go different places, again without expectation,
Yeah.
you never know. Sometimes I just feel like I should go here today, and then you meet somebody. It's just, yeah.
That's amazing.
All right, so we want to thank you, Kevin, for being on the big show.
Thanks for
We
having me.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We want to thank all of you for listening. Just a reminder, we're not above begging. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to us and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I always go through this. There's a lot. We want to make it super simple for you. Is just go to effingdetails.com.
Right, the website.
And we have everything there, all the links, easy to get to. Reach out to us anytime at anything@.
Effing Details.
.com. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.